Good morning, everybody. It's Jillian. So, yeah, you guys have the power of Jilly Juice at your disposal, like all of you do. And I have I have weird, I don't say I have weird stuff. I would say that people's news feed, if you're on my news feed and I see your posts, which I don't see a lot of your posts, but I see some of your posts. Some of you are in my group. I do get triggered and I do get affected. Okay. And so some people have been on my J Juice or been around since like 2018 and they like my J Juice and they told me back in 2018 and then I don't really see too much from them since then. Like I had an email from somebody that said they love my juice. They liked watching me on Dr. Phil and thought got an unfair deal. Okay, that's great. I mean, that's appreciative. And then they want me to guide them on their healing process. Like, why is it that they have sores coming up and they don't understand why their sores are coming up? And it's and I see these posts. Now, when when you guys post stuff, whatever it is, some of it speaks to me. And you may not even direct it towards me, but some of it speaks to me. And I'm going to react to it, but I'm not going to react on their Facebook page. I'm going to, and that's the thing is like, when people get triggered, they have unresolved feelings and issues. And you're absolutely right. When you look at somebody's post and they maybe speak about somebody else, but it totally fits your situation, your scenario, you're like, God damn, and she may not even, this person, I'm thinking about a specific person. She may not even be speaking to me, but she spoke about a situation or situations that could be mischaracterized. And I'll kind of explain to you what it is. And I shouldn't have to justify, but I mean, these are things that you guys are going to be dealing with too. Okay. When you're dealing with people in your life and you have relationships that don't work anymore, and not everybody knows the intricacies of it, whose fault is who did what did who, anytime people release each other, whether it's one person releasing somebody from a relationship or both people releasing from a relationship, it's obviously it wasn't working. It wasn't working. And so I can tell when someone's doing the juice when they don't have posts on their wall with memes that say, people don't abandon the people they love. They abandon the people they use. And I'm just like, oh my God, that speaks so much to the imbalances of that person posting. But why does it affect me? Why am I getting triggered by it? You know why I get triggered by it? Because people have watched my relationships with different people go to the wayside. And they think, oh, God, that person was with her since the beginning. They were with her. Why did she let that person go? And it won't matter what the reason is, the fact that that person is not with me and why it did not work out. It's almost irrelevant to that person's world because in that person's world that's posting that meme that says that people don't abandon the people they love, they abandon the people they're using. They're coming from a victim standpoint, okay? And somebody said, I think it was Gail that said one time, and I did post that type of thing where I explained it takes two in a relationship. Says, love isn't using. But you have to realize that no matter what, any relationship you get into, this is what you have to just come to terms with. Any relationship you get into, you guys are using each other in some way. I don't care how innocent you want to say it is. There is no real benevolent relationship. There has to be something worthwhile for somebody to be in a relationship. Even though there is love and there is respect, mutual respect, but there's also a quid pro quo. What do you have to offer in a relationship? You're just not there to exist to take, right? I mean, nobody wants a relationship where somebody is one-sided and they're taking. Okay? I don't say it's always equal, and I don't want people taking score and taking, all of that. but there is a quid pro quo. There is a back and forth. It's like a game of tennis. Sometimes you're going to, give more on some things, and other things you'll give more on these other things. But how any relationship works is the fact that you both have a mutual understanding of how the relationship is going to go. And if one person is only dictating how it's going to go, and you don't like that one person dictating, that's when you leave a relationship. If one person is dictating where it's going to go. And I'm telling you, when I was in different jobs where it was like the agent, the insurance agent, and I was like their customer service rep or their cold caller, and I'm wanting to run the show, and I'm wanting to direct and do this and that, and that wasn't my place. It was his place to direct. It was his place to do all this stuff. He dictated every single rule. And maybe I had some say in it if he gave me that allowance, but ultimately he was the one that dictated. Now, if I knew my place and I liked my place and I respected my place, I would still be with that agent working and doing amazing or whatever. But no, I wanted to make up my own rules. I wanted to be the one to run the show. I wanted to be the one to dictate everything and be this and be that. And so guess what? That relationship didn't work anymore. I moved on to something bigger and better. And sometimes it has to happen that way, okay? And so when I see people that are in my group, on my Facebook, say they're doing J-Juice, and they post those kinds of memes, and I'm just like, you know what? They're going to totally misunderstand my relationships that have gone to the wayside. They're going to assume I'm using the people that used to be around me. And no, they used me just as much as I used them. And so this speaks to a larger type of situation for all of you guys that are in relationships. You should not be the only one giving. You should not, relationships should not be that difficult. But when you're married, it makes things harder to walk away. When you're married, or when you're in some kind of contractual, financial, where, if one person leaves, there's going to be ramifications, like legal ramifications, then yes, maybe you're forced to make it work, find a happy medium, find mediation, whatever you got to do. But when you don't have contractual obligations to people, when you don't have that financial type of, contingency, okay, I guess, it's easier to just say, you know what, this is too difficult. This is too difficult. This is an uphill battle. This is killing my creativity. And it works both ways. I mean, if somebody is always getting flack from somebody else, or somebody is always getting, it back and forth. Nobody wants difficult relationships. Nobody does. And so when I see those memes from people in my group, and I see them from people on my Facebook that are part of the Jilly Juice crowd, I automatically block and delete. Like, it's like no qualms for me to block and delete when a person writes that. People don't abandon the people they love, they abandon the people they use. If somebody was with you and they were with you when nobody else was, that is the classic victim mentality. That is the classic victim mentality that I can't stand. I swear I can't stand it. Because let me tell you, I know in my world, I give so many people that are in my circle, whoever it is, so much leeway to figure it out. And I do put my boundaries down. And they do get crossed inadvertently. Not all the time. But the ones that are itching to be in charge, the ones that are itching to take my protocol in a different direction, or who knows what, they can't stand that I dictate the rules. This is my protocol. This is how I want my group to go. This is, and so that's exactly, what all of you, need to look at as far as your Jilly Juice, because some of you don't even know you're in those type of relationships where you're the only one dictating, or they're the only one dictating. You're acquiescing all the time, and you're not putting your boundaries down, and you're not walking away, and you're in fucked up relationships. And, at some point when you do the Jilly Juice, you're going to put your boundaries down, and you're going to articulate them, and then you're going to have peace. Okay? Then you're going to have peace. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. Because I've had a lot of different relationships through Jilly Juice as far as the people that are working with me. As much as I was able to derive benefit from them, they derived a whole bunch of benefit from me, if not more. Okay? I mean, when people think that there's so much money in Jilly Juice that, oh yeah, if you glom onto Jilly Juice and be part of my inner circle, you're going to make all this thousands and millions and trillions of dollars. They figured out that's not the case. They figured out that you're not going to be banking on Jilly Juice literally. There is no unlimited amounts of money in the Jilly Juice world. This is strictly where you put something out there and you have an actual original idea, not just glomming onto my stuff and regurgitating what I say in a different way, but you have something original to bring to the Jilly Juice world where people can understand and you're reaching them at a level that maybe you weren't able to reach them before in other worlds that you've circulated in. That's the beauty of Jilly Juice, is that you can actually break through your creativity boundaries because you've now opened up your body, mind, and spirit and your biochemistry, and now you're far more strategic. You have clarity in what it is your purpose is, and you can take Jilly Juice to a whole different direction in the areas that you have expertise, because some people have talents in areas that I don't have talents in, and then they can totally expand upon their training, upon their purpose that they had before Jilly Juice. Because I'm telling you, you guys were very, you guys are very amazing even before Jilly Juice. But Jilly Juice can make you even more amazing, even more than you ever thought you could be. And that's the power of it. It's not trying to be a Jilly Juice, person and totally just, try to take my place and guide the group in any specific direction. No, it's taking what your natural abilities are and expounding upon them, and then using a Jilly Juice as a platform to then reach people on the level of Jilly Juice, because it does have a very specific foundation, indefinite life and balance in body, mind, and spirit. And then it translates in specific measurable results in then your lack of victim and predator mentality, as well as, oh, my hair is awful, as well as then you get off of all of the things like that used to bug you. Okay. And so, yeah, so it doesn't matter. So if I block somebody because they posted something like that, people don't abandon the people they love. They abandon the people they use. I'm going to block you so quick if you're in the Jilly Juice world and you're on my Facebook and I see you in my newsfeed, because that right there, that really hits home, because that's how probably the people that I have let go, that's probably what they think. But I have given them, and I have talked with them hours and hours and hours and hours. I've given them so much of my time and guidance and love and support, and given them so much room to grow. And then they keep going down other rabbit holes. And then I'm like, okay, I've given so much time. I can't give any more time. And it's killing my creativity. So it's kind of raw for me when I see that. And so I know when someone posts that and they've seen how I've lived out loud with my relationships, that's exactly what they're thinking. And if somebody has that feeling about me as well as somebody else, when somebody leaves them, or when somebody fires them, or when somebody does something to somebody, this person's going to have the whole victim mentality. And then they're going to go out there and they're going to affect the world with their victimhood. And that is not the point of Jilly Juice. We don't say that people abandon people they love, they abandon people they're using. No, love is such a mischaracterized thing. It's being overused, it's abused, and it's something where it's almost like it's a manipulation. Love and hate are major manipulations. They really are. Okay? Because people use it so easily to justify what they're doing, to get where they want to go with someone or something. And when it really comes down to it, it's not about love. It's about mutual respect. It's about boundaries. It's about saying, hey, you know what? This isn't okay. And being okay with speaking about what doesn't work for you. And this is what works for me. And does it work for you? Oh, no, it doesn't work for me. Okay, then maybe it's time to part ways. Okay, and that's the adulthood, that's the maturity of Jilly Juice, is where you can actually set your boundaries and not feel guilty for having them. That's part of the thing with women, is that we feel guilty for not allowing men that flatter us and that that make themselves feel like they're some kind of like kind, gentle person, and they're overstepping boundaries, and we feel kind of bad that we don't feed into that stuff. And And so some women give men attention that they shouldn't, and they feel uncomfortable because they feel bad. They feel bad about setting boundaries. They feel, and so in a lot of ways, the J Juice is an empowerment for women, that you don't have to take all of these flirtations from men if you don't feel comfortable. If men cross boundaries, you let them know they cross boundary, and you don't have to let them know in so many words. Sometimes blocking and deleting and not responding is the best response for men that cross boundaries. And so sometimes, that's something that people don't understand. And then, and then crimes get committed when people get back and forth and things they shouldn't. Because I've seen myself almost fall into that. So some people out there on Facebook that are like, oh, I'm a fan of you, Jilly Juice. And they've crossed lines. They've flattered me to where I'm just feeling uncomfortable. And I'm like, dude, that's a little creepy in my head, but I don't want to offend them. And I don't want to come off like, wow, she's responding in such a crazy way. Because even when you respond in a way where you feel uncomfortable, it comes off really sharp. It comes off this way. And then you all of a sudden you're in this emotional back and forth with someone that you don't even know. And you don't want to go there with anybody. You only want to go there with the person that you are accountable to, which is your husband or wife or family member that you, have some kind of relationship with, not with some stranger on Facebook. But that's the thing about, boundaries, and even on social media. People don't, some people just don't understand that. And so anyways, so I, want you guys to kind of see the power of Jilly Juice and understanding the ineffective and effective relationships and how to extricate yourself from ineffective relationships, especially if they're killing your creativity and you're not moving forward and you keep regressing back and forth with the same argument. Sometimes you have to evolve and not loop back and forth in the same argument, in the same situation. And so nobody abandons people they use and love, because there's no abandonment. You're just walking away from a bad situation. And maybe the people that say that they've been abandoned, maybe they should have walked away a long time ago, but they hung on because that's all they know. People that hang on and it keeps people abandoning them have probably boundary issues. Okay? And so that's why, so now you can kind of see that why I can kind of be like, I block people out of the blue, because I see where their head's at, and they say they're on Jilly Juice, but no, they're not. They're still a victim. They still want to blame others for all of whatever goes on. And they have cancer disease, chronic illness. They hate the vaccines. They want to blame Bill Gates. Okay, fine, whatever. But that one meme where it says you don't abandon people that you love, you abandon people that you use, that's the most that is the antithesis of the Jilly Juice world. And so if I see that, anybody that I know in my Jilly Juice world, if I see that, you're done. And I know it's like, why would you do that? Because right there, that says a lot about that person and probably what they think of me if they've watched me for a while. And some of you guys have watched me for a while. You know exactly what I went through the last 4 years with so many different people. And yeah, some people had been with me for a long time, and some people couldn't make it and evolve with me. It's just life. But hey, they have the access to the Jilly Juice. They have access to expound upon what they know about Jilly Juice and their talents, whatever they are. Okay, they have access, and now they have the freedom to do whatever the hell they want without me dictating what they should do and not do based upon what I want from that's produced in a book or produced anywhere as far as Jilly Juice. And I haven't said you can't. I mean, people will go and make money off of their whatever. Now they can't be using Jilly Juice as a platform, but they could say, hey, yeah, I met this chick. She's crazy, but I did her Jilly Juice, and this is what I found out, and this is my spin on the world. Whatever. I'm not going to go sue them for copyright. I don't care. That's not important to me, to go after everyone that makes money. Because I'm telling you, I can go after people that make fun of Jilly Juice making money on YouTube. But is that really a good use of my time? No. Okay? I want all of you guys to be successful. But when it comes to my group and what I want produced with my name on it, I have very specific parameters. And you have to. Because let me tell you, so many people wanted to change Jilly Juice. They wanted me to go off in this direction and work with this guru, and they want me to add in all the holistic remedies and all the energy healing crap. I'm not doing that. That's not where I'm going. But to get that across for, even a couple of years ago was very difficult until finally, this COVID-19 was the evolutionary leap. And this was the three circles. I didn't mean the other one. This was the three circles that I was actually, which you can't really see, but because it's all reversed. But yeah, I have like the three circles with humans, animals, and plants, and viruses, parasites, fungus, bacteria, and then I have protozoa and proteins and all of that. And so, so I have very specific goals that I want to take myself to. I have another book I want to write. I have so many ideas and just dreams about the future and my analyzation of our current society. Okay? So it's just like, I just got to keep creating and keep creating. And I can't get bogged down by the drama and by somebody else's whatever. I want people in my world to be totally independent. That's why my group is so like very independent and so drama free, and I don't need to moderate it. People are self-sufficient in my group, self-moderating. So that leaves me open to be creative. That leaves me open to just think about life and think about this, not have to worry about somebody's, issues or problems or whatever. People are taking care of their own business. And that's exactly what you all maybe would want to achieve, is where you're so self-sufficient and people around you are relatively self-sufficient that you have time and you have room and space to really develop yourself. Okay? I mean, some of you are raising kids, so that's as self-sufficient as they're going to get. But some of you have really great kids, okay, that are very, very thoughtful. And it's really awesome to see. And so, I mean, my life is relatively just chill. And that's the way I want it to be. I don't want it to be fraught with controversy and fraught with people wanting so much from me. And that's why I say no private messages, I don't want to watch a video. I don't want to watch this person's idea on life. I don't need to watch or read this article or no links. I mean, I've pretty much have my direction. I'm very self-directed. So, and I want you guys to be self-directed and take the Jilly Juice and do it and watch your biochemistry change. And then all of a sudden, whatever it is you're doing, you could be in marketing, selling some kind of, product that you may have an opening on how to sell that product in a different way against your competition. And then you'll rise to the top of whatever profession you're in because you have now unique abilities that people who are still looping in their cancer, disease, and chronic illness will never, ever have because they're aging and degrading. And yet now you're going to be far more advanced than everybody around you. That's the kind of people I want in the Jilly Juice world, where they rise above their peers, where they're going against the grain without breaking the law, without really going against the grain, obviously. I'm going against the grain, but guess what? I understand the power of vaccines and why. Do I want them? I will get them if I have to, but I can prove you don't have to have them, but I don't have to say I'm anti-vax. I could say that, you know what? If I have to get a vaccine, I will, and I can handle it and I can do it. Do I really need it? I'm looking at a world where we don't need to have pharmaceuticals. We don't need to have vaccines. We don't need to have holistic remedies or anything like that. And you can still be an anti-establishment without being anti-establishment. And that's the beauty of J Juice, is the subtleness of how you go about doing stuff instead of being so in your face about your belief system where you turn people off. And I know that I also can be very non-subtle in my belief systems, and I'm learning subtlety. I'm learning as much as I can. I'm learning how to go with the mainstream, but then implement the newer ideas where they can see the value of it without me discounting their beliefs. Okay, so vaccines have a place, and explaining, what's in the vaccines is like explaining what's in your body, mind, and spirit. It's your microbiome. That's exactly what's in the vaccines. Bill Gates, what his actual crime is that he cannot relate to the common man that is not highly educated, understands the science behind the vaccines, the science behind the elements and the microbiome and the biochemistry and antibodies and viruses. See, Bill Gates has failed to relate to the common dude that maybe only has 4 years of maybe a bachelor degree in like marketing, but no bachelor's in sciences. And so he hasn't reached those people who are anti-government. Maybe he hasn't reached people who only have, a high school education. You think you learn this stuff in high school, but you do, but not in the way that people think. And then they don't talk about correlation doesn't equal causation. They don't talk about that in high school. Oh my God, that's too theoretical. That's too out there. Okay? Because inevitably someone, people are going to make these correlation equals causation because that's the natural human instinct to say, okay, well, I ate some steak and now I feel this, so it's the steak's fault, right? Well, that was when I had a bad biochemistry, when I was like, okay, I'm going to go eat a steak, and I was still early on in the J juice, and when I ate that steak, I had these hormonal fluctuations, and steak has hormones in it. Well, that stands to reason why I had hormonal fluctuations. As soon as I balanced out my hormones, I can go eat a steak, and it actually gave me benefit. It stopped a headache, or it gave it some kind of relief for a brief moment. And it helped support my healing process when I had that 6-day headache. I know a lady in my world that she's had that same headache that I've been having for a month. That's a long ass healing process. My husband said he had those kind of headaches for a while. I don't know how the hell he was able to work with those headaches, but I had the intense 6-day headache, and then I haven't had it except for yesterday when I went, except for Sunday, because I went and hung out with a bunch of people on Saturday. So I got introduced to another microbiome, okay, which is another mutation of the COVID, but the headache wasn't that bad, and I just went to sleep and it was gone. Like, as soon as I woke up from my nap. Okay? So anyway, so food can help and all that, whatever, as far as, your issues when you're on the J juice. But that's Bill Gates's crime, is the fact that he cannot relate to the common man. He has too much money. He's too much of a nerd. He can't reach the people that are below him. He can only reach other billionaires who have relative sense about biochemistry and chemistry. But Bill Gates is not able to reach the common man, and that's his own fault, and he will have to pay for that. Okay, if he cannot reach people, then they're going to mischaracterize. If he can't speak in a way where it lands in all the different worlds, okay? And he's been insulated in his homogeneous microbiome. He has not been able to really get out of that. Even when he goes to Africa and does those humanitarian things, he's still in his bubble. When you're still in a bubble where maybe you're explaining what the vaccines do to the leaders over there, and they get it, and that's why they vaccinate, but still the people don't understand, and the people will say correlation equals causation. That's what I was saying. That's what I was coming off of. Yeah, because, it's not always correlation equals causation, but they don't teach that in high school. That there's so many factors, so many things that happen simultaneously, and you already have predispositions that even though you may have eaten that pineapple, drinking the J juice, or ate a steak, and you have some kind of reaction, it's not from any of those specific things. It was just that maybe it was just your time. And that, and then overnight your body goes through reparations, and then you die because you don't have enough of what it takes. You didn't have enough of the jelly juice. You had too much of the pineapple juice. But that's not even, but no matter what, if you have imbalances, it's not going to matter if it's a pineapple juice or if it's a piece of food that you ate. Okay? If you're that sensitive to where you die, it means that it's been a long time coming. It wasn't from anything immediate in your surroundings that you ate, drank, or breathed in. It was a long journey of destruction, because the human body can handle a lot. The human body has been able to handle so much over years and years and years of abuse. So if somebody dies, it's because they've abused their body to such an extent that it wouldn't matter if it's that prescription drug, if it was that vaccine, if it was jelly juice, if it was that pineapple juice, or the air that they breathed that moment in time. They were set to die no matter what because of years and years and years of abuse. So if I can catch you before you abuse your body even more, I would feel that, damn, you guys would be very lucky to interrupt that death trajectory. All of you would be very lucky. Okay? And yeah, you're going to have to feel pain. So, but see, that's the thing too, is that Bill Gates may understand one half the equation, building immunity, but the other half is, can you handle that upgrade? So that's what Bill Gates and that's what the medical holistic industry have failed to figure out is yes, people need to build their immunity. They need to feed their body, but they haven't figured out the leaky gut side of it. Or if they think they haven't actually repaired it because leaky gut has been happening and there's been all these holistic remedies for leaky gut, but yet people are still dying. Why are people dying? Because their body is not absorbing the nutrients and it's not regenerating cells at the micro level. So in essence, leaky gut is still happening despite all of the holistic remedies. So when you're seeing these guys that are aging and degrading, like all these little gurus that are like, the white hair and their gaunt skin and they're like these yoga-ists and these people that are doing all these spiritual stuff and they're in different cultures and they're aging and they're underweight and they claim to have all of these longevity powers and they're aging and degrading. What does that tell you? That their energy is being siphoned out through holes in their body. They're not absorbing. You think you want to follow those gurus that are aging and degrading, playing with their hormones? Doing the tantric sex 24/7, which is basically releasing your life force? No. There is a balance to all of that. Am I going to say, no, you should not be, releasing those hormones if you want to? It's fine. You do whatever the hell you want, but you better balance it out. You don't want to have too much of anything that's releasing your life force on a continuous basis. You've got to save your life force. So, hold on. Ah, my nose. Ugh. So anyway, so Bill Gates, he's aging and degrading. He's only known half the equation. The medical holistic industry only know half the equation. We got the other half the equation, and we're pointing out what is wrong with the prescription drug market and what is wrong with the holistic market. Prostaglandin inhibitors that constrict the blood vessels, and then if you have predispositions, heart attacks and strokes are not too far behind. Okay? And then the Jilly Juice, it dilates your blood vessels. It will, if you have predispositions in heart issues, it will then, the salt will trigger the antidiuretic hormone to come to surface. But then if you drink water, you'll be fine. You won't have high blood pressure. But those that have high blood pressure have constricted blood vessels and they are, dehydrated because they're not drinking enough water and they're taking prostaglandin inhibitors, constricting their blood vessels. And then the salt will then try to retain the water and then push it through. And so that's where all of this correlation equals causation with salt and high blood pressure, but they're not really that closely related. It's the fact that someone's dehydrated is why they have high blood pressure. And that is in my book. I sent off the final revision to my publisher because they did the final internal treatments and they're going to show me the cover pretty soon. And I did put a small little thing about high blood pressure, how salt does not do that. So that way your friends can understand, and it has the substantiation about antidiuretic hormone and that salt doesn't cause it. It's the fact that someone's dehydrated because they're not drinking enough water and they have issues with predispositions. Okay, so there's that in the book. And and so that's what they don't teach in college and in high school is about correlation is equal causation. And that's the simple man's way of blaming things is that if it's somewhere in the vicinity and it looks like it could work to fit your agenda, then that becomes like a truth and it's not really a truth. I mean, 5G is not causing people's issues. If you have electromagnetic sensitivity, you have predispositions. Because not everybody has EMF issues, okay? So 5G is not the destruction of the human race. You are the destruction of your own body, mind, and spirit. You have sensitivities, and maybe you need to up your microbiome or balance out your microbiome and then be able to adapt to your environment. And if you can't adapt to the level of your environment, then you're not going to be able to adapt. And that's your own fault. It's not the 5G's fault. It's not Monsanto's fault. It's not Jilly Juice's fault. It's not anybody's fault but your own. Okay? And that's one of the biggest things about Jilly Juice is the fact that you have personal responsibility, self-accountability, and we got to stop blaming. You got to stop blaming. But, I would say that, Bill Gates and myself in the beginning, when I couldn't explain everything, was at fault for all the mischaracterizations. So now, I just I just updated my website. What did I put on my website? I said something about YouTubers. Let's see, Jilly Juice, jillyjuice.com. Because I've taken down the old links because I discontinued my old book from 2018, which isn't relevant anymore. So if you have that book, it's, keep it. It's a relic. It will be. But I said about Gillian Epperly, a product of her generation. Gillian Epperly has taken the idea of the power of cabbage, kale, water, and the white table iodized or non-iodized salts in different contexts in nature and applied the same rules and created a new context called Jilly Juice LLC. The recipe consists of fermented cabbage, kale, water, and white iodized or non-iodized table salt, and it is very nutritious. The evolution of the Jilly Juice protocol, June 2020. That's the expected release date. So new. Focus will be on how the elements of the periodic tables impact biodiversity, transferring and converting different forms of energy, triggering biochemistry. Plus, I will be discussing how the absence of the appropriate amounts of sugar and salt impacts biodiversity, and how salt does not cause dehydration or high blood pressure if you drink water. Moreover, the recipe and the diet has changed drastically. Finally, you'll see how I've taken the balance to a whole other level to the point of seeing the value of why things exist in biodiversity and man-made law. Evolving is beautiful. I have been doing extensive research in healing and upgrading, and if I have offended anyone politically while in the process of my research, I have done so publicly, I am truly sorry. It's not easy to explore and research so publicly and have ideas be misinterpreted by daytime talk show hosts and desperate YouTubers looking for an audience, mischaracterizing recipe, not fluent in cabbage fermentation. And then I say, however, I do not discount some of the good things YouTubers expose, but they are certainly wrong about their fear of salt and lactobacillus, which is part of their microbiome. When people have imbalances in their body, mind, and spirit, they're like a broken clock. This is where I bring in this clock analogy. They can be right at least twice a day, but they are wrong about their fear of Jilly Juice and the power of food. If you go to my YouTube, I do talk about the biological constructs of biodiversity and the elemental constructs of our universe and the social constructs of different societies. Anything I may have said on Dr. Phil regarding societal constructs need to be revised, as I've since changed my outlook and approach. We have no idea what normal is. Evolution is continuous and de-evolution is continuous. It is just a matter of which way you choose to go, and that is your choice. So you can go to a de-evolutionary process, whatever that is, and you will find out as you are aging and degrading, or you can go to an evolutionary process where you are reversing all of your issues, and maybe you might see your biochemistry change, and how that manifests, only you will know, and if you want to divulge that, that's up to you, okay? But we can't be the one to dictate what is de-evolutionary, what is evolutionary. I can have ideas on what is de-evolutionary, and I have said reproduction has caused de-evolution in our society, but, I've also juxtapositioned that with the whole Jilly Juice, and where maybe not everybody's going to want to reproduce. It's going to have a whole different biochemistry. Okay? And so additionally, I'm also not anti-vaccine or anti-GMO or demonize food elements, minerals, or chemicals in any way, shape, or form. Everything is about balance, intention, outcome, and specific measurable results. Again, please go to my YouTube channel and catch up on my latest thought process so you can get a better clarification of how fluid the Jilly Juice protocol is when learning and developing a thesis so publicly and expeditiously. Okay? So, and then I go into some of the finer details. So anyways, as far as just the logistics and how to get to my group and all that. So, Jilly Juice is evolution. It really is. And you either choose to evolve with me or you choose to devolve. And we're going into a world where it's going to be so much government up your ass. Because some of you do not know how you affect your community. You are aging and degrading. You're communicable. You're going into different microbiomes. You have the COVID and you're communicable, and people around you, are going to be very sensitive to your microbiome. And whether or not you think it's contrived or it's like something nature happened as far as this COVID, it doesn't even matter. I felt it. I'm seeing people on my Facebook, just, people die of strokes or have heart attacks. I'm seeing so many people on my Facebook talking about people in their life dying. Okay. So we know this COVID exists. So yeah, when you want to travel, you're going to have 4-hour self-check-ins, immunity passports, on the spot blood tests if you don't have an immunity passport. disinfectants to your luggage, to yourself. You're going to have temperature checks. You're going to have biometric facial recognition. You're going to have less than the other touch points where you're not touch anything. Everything is going to be through scans. Okay. This is the new world you're going to be going into. And if you're not doing Jilly Juice, you're not going to adapt to this new world. So those that want to fight against all of these very surveillance type measures, you see all the crazy people out there that are killing that are going and destroying the 5G towers, committing terrorist acts against their own community. Okay, there's a reason. There's a reason why it is that we have all of these things. And now we have this extra thing called a virus. Okay, and that's going to put more of a strain on your freedom. It is what it is. But, if you're not strong enough, let me tell you, I remember when I was trying to take my blood type test, I couldn't for the life of me just prick my finger. But if I really want to travel to some exotic country, if I really want to travel to the Bahamas or wherever, get on a plane, I'm going to have to endure. If I don't get vaccinated, which, okay, fine. If they say you have to have the flu shot, this shot, that shot, whatever shot, in order to go travel to the Bahamas, holy crap. Okay. Well, I could do that, or I could go travel to Florida. Oh, if I want to go to Hawaii, okay, and I get on a plane, if I get on any kind of plane, I better have some kind of immunity passport. So you're really going to have to think twice before traveling. And if I want to travel that bad, and I want to be, if I'm going to expose myself, and you can't even be sick, but people who are not sick are also communicable. So that's why they're doing all these voluntary tests right now. They're doing in Cleveland, or out of Cleveland, the Ohio Health Services are doing voluntary tests to see antibody tests of the COVID, where they're going to send you a postcard, and it's going to say, well, you have been randomly selected voluntarily to participate in this testing, antibody testing, and you can opt out and call, email, and whatever. And so they want to see, even if someone is asymptomatic, completely healthy, still have antibodies. They want to see how prevalent this COVID is. And so it's probably very prevalent. I would say it's very prevalent because they're saying now that the COVID's been around since January, which I think it's been around since September. Okay. But they're saying, at least what they have documented, that they've seen that the COVID has been around since January. Okay. So, which means that anyone that has died from whatever has been affected by the COVID, because that brings up antibodies. And if you have predispositions, that's going to be the straws that broke the camel's back. Okay. So this is the world that we live in, and either you adapt to it and you learn how to face your fears. My fear of needles. Okay. I hate needles. Let me tell you, when I was in the military and they were giving me all the vaccinations, they had to hold me down to give me, and then I'm finally like, okay, fine. Okay. So, in the military, they were giving the air guns and they were doing the shots at MEPS. And even when I was in basic training, you just walk down the line and they're just inoculating you just down the line. Okay. So my fear of needles is going to have to go to the wayside if I want to participate in the things I want to participate in life. And when you do the Jilly Juice, you'll be able to handle all the different traumas, whether trauma from the needle or trauma from traveling and going through the airports, because the airports are going to be, Grand Central Station. It's going to be a major, it's going to be where you're going to see Big Brother, is when you go and travel, when you're around when you're going to go into from all these different microbiomes to now being funneled into an airplane where you're going to share now another microbiome. Yeah, you're going to see Big Brother up in your face. And you know what? If you can't handle that and you can't adapt to it, you're not going to be able to adapt to it anyways. You might as well stay in your homogenous, village or city or community, or drive your car to all the places that you want to go to if you want to travel to a different location. But if you want to go to a different continent, well, you better have what it takes to adapt to traveling as well as adapting to that location that you're going to. And it's all about adaptation. What it comes down to with the Jilly Juice is helping you adapt. It's about adaptation, adapting to the Jilly Juice, adapting to the new world, adapting to the new society, and you can fight it, and that's fine. But what you resist will persist. And if you don't have enough what it takes, you're going to die anyways, no matter what. So why die? Why not just figure out how to adapt to the new world and stay alive, because no one's trying to kill you, that you're not doing much better. You're killing yourself. Some of you are killing yourself. Do you realize that some of you are drinking and smoking and doing drugs and not balancing your microbiome? And so you're actually the one that's destroying yourself. And then you're blaming the government saying they're doing it to you. Hell no. You have every capacity to understand jelly juice. Some of you are watching me that know about jelly juice and are not doing it, and you're blaming everybody else for destroying you, and you're actively destroying yourself because you haven't interrupted the death trajectory. You still continue with the same thought process and the same cycle, and you haven't upset your homeostasis to go on a different trajectory, and so you are creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the whole jelly juice is like, you have no one to blame but yourself, and you have every power to change your microbiome, and if you don't, then you have no one to blame but yourself. And so, we're just giving you an access to a different thought process so you can adapt to this new world and enjoy it and thrive in it. Okay? It's not about just surviving in this new world, it's thriving in it and doing amazing. And the people in my world that I see in the jelly juice are having an amazing life. They have amazing kids, amazing husbands, amazing support system. And they're beautiful, and they're kind, and they're gentle. And they put up with me when I'm going through all of my different whatever, but I deal with so many different people that of course I'm going to react and draw boundaries. And you're not going to know all the details, but you'll understand where I'm coming from, because I will sometimes give you more details than not. Do I really, should I give you all the details? Well, hell yeah, I'm more transparent, but do I have to? No, I don't have to, but I want you guys to know where I'm coming from and the mentality of a jelly juicer. So you can see if that's something that you want to take on. I mean, some of you don't want to take on your life, and you'd rather just, be in the dark and allow people to run all over you and run amok, and then you can blame them for all of your, misfortunes. But some of you want to take responsibility and you want to lead your life in a different way, and this is the access to it, changing your biochemistry. So anyways, I'm going to go and do my thing, but you guys just got to know where I'm coming from as far as the jelly juice, and that you don't need me to be a friend of mine if I blocked and deleted you because I see a meme on there that really triggered me, and that one that really triggered me. When people don't abandon the people they love, they abandon the people they use. That's not the person I want in my life. I don't want that person in my jelly juice group, and I don't want that person anywhere near me. Anyone that has that kind of mentality, that's a very victim predator mentality. That is not the jelly juice. And then I know how they feel about me, even though it's not directed at me, but I know that they're not doing jelly juice, not giving any testimony in the group. And if they have that kind of mentality, that's very toxic. That's a very toxic mentality that I cannot be a part of. And so you have to know that's where I'm coming from. So if you all of a sudden become, blocked in my world, and that meme has ever come up in your world, well, you'll know why. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.